All right, let me tell you about a conversation I had at dinner one night recently, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it. It wasn't with the CEO, it wasn't with a mentor or a coach or somebody with a shelf full of books behind them on a video call. No, it was with a 13-year-old girl, my granddaughter Oakley. And by the end of the night, she was the one teaching me. So stick with me because there's a lesson in this one for every single one of us, no matter how old or young we are, no matter how far along we think we should be. There's a lesson. Welcome back to Dreams Don't Expire. I'm Janae, and if this is your first time here, here's what you need to know about me. I spent most of my life believing I was meant to play small. I grew up poor, I barely got my GED, and I raised my kids in survival mode, never really understanding that I was capable of more. Then some incredible people came into my life and taught me my potential. They taught me to love myself, and everything changed. Now I get to spend my days paying that forward, helping other people see what's inside them and step into their potential. That's the whole reason this show exists. And today's episode, this one's a little different because the teacher, it isn't me. The teacher is 13. So here's the story. My granddaughter just turned 13, and I took her out to dinner to celebrate. Just the two of us. And you know how those dinners go. You start out with a little fun, always good food, and then if you're lucky, there's a real conversation that shows up. Well, the real conversation showed up. She started telling me about her birthday party and about a few of her friends and some of the things they did that hurt her. Now, I won't get into the details because honestly, the details don't matter for this story. But every one of us has been there. You do something kind, you open the door, you invite people in, and some of them don't show up the way you hoped. And when you're 13, that kind of thing doesn't just sting, it shakes you. So we sat with it for a minute, and then I asked her a question. I said, okay, forget those friends for a second. What kind of friend do you want to have? And what are you going to do to attract that kind of person into your life? Because here's something I believe all the way down to my bones. The people you attract are a reflection of the person you're becoming. If you want loyal, kind, honest people around you, the work starts with being loyal, kind, and honest to yourself. And that's when she surprised me. Because she didn't stay on the friends. She flipped the whole thing around. She looked at me and she said she wanted to spend the summer working on herself. She's 13, guys. 13 years old, and she wanted to use her summer to become a better version of her. Now, I don't know if you caught the size of that, so let me say that again. At an age when most of us were consumed by who liked us and who didn't and who was invited and who wasn't, this girl decided the most important project of her summer was herself. And I asked her what that looked like. What does working on yourself actually mean to you? What do you want to do? And she said she wanted to start walking. Simple, right? Just walking. But I loved it because it was hers. It wasn't some big complicated plan she was going to abandon by July. It was one real doable thing. So I gave her a piece of advice, the same advice I give any grown adult sitting across from me at the table. I said, don't just want to walk, make it a promise. Decide what time of day you're going to do it and make it non-negotiable. Non-negotiable, meaning it's not up for debate. It's not if I feel like it. It's not if the weather's nice or if I'm not tired. It's a promise you've made and you keep it. We talked about the benefits, how walking is good for your body, yes, but it's also good for your head. It clears your mind, how it gives you time to think, how the simple act of doing what you said you'd do builds something inside of you that's way bigger than walking itself. Then dinner got over, and I figured it was a beautiful conversation. And maybe that'd be the end of it. But it wasn't, because a couple of days later, I was talking with her mom, and her mom said, kind of amazed that her daughter wanted to go walking. And I said, "Oh, that's wonderful." And her mom said, "No, you don't understand. She went even when she didn't really feel like it. And when I asked her about it, she said she had to because she'd made a promise." Because she'd made a promise. Think about that. I was so proud. I was so proud. Because think about what actually happened there. A 13-year-old girl in the middle of the most emotional, dramatic, up and down season of human life, those teenage years where everything feels enormous, she quietly decided to become better. And then she kept her word to herself when nobody was making her do it. There are 3 lessons in this story, and every one of them is for us, the adults, the ones who are supposed to have figured it all out. Lesson number 1, the friend you want, start with the person you're becoming. She could have spent the whole summer talking about what her friends did wrong and should have been justified. She got hurt, but she didn't stay there. She turned the attention to the one person she actually has control over, herself. That's a move most grown adults never learn to make. We want better relationships, better teams, better people around us, but we keep waiting for them to change. She understood at 13 that the way you attract better is to become better. Start there. Lesson number 2, a promise to yourself is sacred. Here's the thing about promises. We would never dream of breaking a promise to a friend or to our boss or to our kids, but we break promises to ourselves all the time. I'm going to start Monday. I'm going to get to it tomorrow. I'll begin after the holidays. And we let it slide because we tell ourselves nobody's watching. But somebody is watching. It's you. You're watching every time you break a promise to yourself. Quietly teaching yourself that your word to you just doesn't count. And every time you keep one, even a teeny one, even a walk, you're teaching yourself the opposite. You're saying, I can trust me. That trust, that foundation of every single thing you want to build in your life. And lesson number 3, non-negotiable. This is a superpower. The reason she walked when she didn't feel like it is that she never left it up for a vote. She didn't wake up every morning and decide. She'd already decided. And it was a non-negotiable. And that takes the whole exhausting battle of willpower off the table. Most of us fail at our goals, not because we're weak, but because we renegotiate them every single day. We leave the door open for maybe, not today. She closed that door, and I promise you, the things in your life that you treat as non-negotiable are the things that actually get done. I'm telling you right now, it's pretty amazing watching that. You know, I turned 16 a long time ago, and I spent a bigger part of the last couple of years proving to myself and anybody watching that it's never, ever too late to go after your dreams. I quit a job after 12 years. I wrote a book. I started a podcast. I built a community at 60. You know, the whole story. But here's my granddaughter at 13 proving the flip side of the same truth. It's never too early either. Between her 30 and my 60 is basically a whole span of a human life, and the lessons land exactly the same at both ends. It's not about your age. It's about the decision. It's about looking at yourself honestly and say, I'm going to become more. I'm going to keep my promise to do it. She didn't need a perfect plan. She needed a walk and a promise. You don't need a perfect plan either. You just need to pick your one thing and make it non-negotiable. And give yourself the gift of keeping your word. So here's my challenge. Here's what I want to leave you with. This challenge. And I want you to actually do this one. And not just nod along and forget about it by the time you get where you're going. I want you to make one promise to yourself this week. Just one. And I want it to be small enough that you have no excuse not to keep it. Maybe it's a walk. Like her. Maybe it's 10 minutes of quiet in the morning before your world gets loud. Maybe it's writing one page or drinking your water or going to bed on time or saying one kind thing to yourself in the mirror or your gratitude journal. It doesn't have to be big. In fact, don't make it big, make it doable. Now, do these 3 things. Name it, pick the time of day you're going to do it, and make it non-negotiable. Not an if I feel like it, but because I said I would. And at the end of the week, notice how you feel. Not just about the thing you did about yourself, about the fact that you kept your word. Because that feeling, that quiet little I can, trust me, that's where everything starts. If a 13-year-old can do it in the middle of everything a 13-year-old is carrying, so can you. Thank you for spending this time with me and for listening with an open heart, for choosing to invest in your growth today. If this episode spoke to you, I would love for you to share it with someone else who just may need the reminder that their dreams still matter. Sometimes one conversation, one message, one moment of encouragement can change everything. And if you want to go deeper, my book, Rise, Believe, Become, was written with you in mind. There is more out there for you. Your potential is so much bigger than you'll know. This is your time to find the courage to take the next step in your journey. You can find my book on Amazon. This is just Janae reminding you that no matter what phase you are in, your dreams don't expire. Until next time, keep rising.